Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm your host Toby. This is episode 2 of Ready with Toby. Hope you guys are all having a good day, the night whenever y'all watch this episode. So today's episode is titled Messy Stories. Messy, well, yeah, messy. Well, let me phrase this. I'm titling it Messy Family Stories. So I try to stick to a theme. So I found a couple of good episodes. On my tablet, on Reddit, I was multitasking early watching YouTube. And I was like, you know what? Okay, so let's just get into this. Okay, this first one is titled, Am I Asshole for Not Wanting to Go on Family Cruise? Okay. My sister-in-law booked a 13-day family cruise to the British Isles. This cruise included my husband and I and our grown daughters and their families, his 2 brothers and their families, one brother and his wife, and the other brother whose wife booked the trip, and their 2 adopted kids, and my father-in-law. Looking over the Lenery, I noticed that she placed my father-in-law in the room with my husband and I. Now this cabin is maybe 300 feet square. I don't have the best relationship with my father-in-law, as he is always meddled in my relationship. I contacted said sister-in-law and asked why father-in-law was booked in our room, because 3 people who weren't immediately related was ridiculous in a small space. She said that the cruise was full. I said that I would have to decline going because I need my space, and that would just be too much for me. Before I even had a chance to discuss this with my husband, my sister-in-law called my father-in-law and said since I wasn't going on the cruise, would it be okay for her teenage adopted son to share the room with him and my husband, since they were good influences on him. My father-in-law called my husband, who in turn called me and said he didn't want to share a room with the teenage son. Didn't say anything about me not going on the cruise. Said I didn't want to share a room with his dad. Further, I added that I didn't know one woman who would want to share a room with her father-in-law, and the reason the room was booked that way was. Oh my god, hold on, y'all. Was because my sister-in-law knew I would skip the cruise because of that, so she could get what she wanted, which was her son out of her room. This started another argument. Long story short, my husband called the travel agent himself and found out that the cruise wasn't full. There were plenty of open cabins available, so he booked us in our own cabin on the opposite side of the strip from where all of the other rooms were. Everyone was angry at me for making a stink about the original room arrangements, and said that their anger was misplaced and that should have been directed at my sister-in-law, who manipulated the situation to get what she wanted. Her son out of her room while making me look like the bad guy. Am I an asshole? No, you're not. Sister-in-law is doing too much. That's what she's doing. It's like, honey, I mean, lying, saying that the cruise was booked and there were no available rooms. Yeah, no. Nope. But like I said, you're not the asshole. Sister-in-law's the asshole. Let me look at the comments. Toby. Putting you... Well, and then this is the first comment. Not the asshole. Putting your father-in-law in the same tiny cabin as a married couple for nearly 2 weeks without even asking first is already bizarre. Then lying that the cruise was full when there were open cabins makes it pretty obvious this was about convenience for your sister-in-law, not fairness, not for everyone else. The fact that your husband immediately booked a separate cabin after checking himself says a lot. Yeah, because the thing is, though, sister-in-law didn't want her teenage son to be in a room with her. She wouldn't have the room by herself. I'm just like, and the fact that she knows that OP doesn't get along with father-in-law and she's wanting to put them in a room with him, her OP and her husband, it's like, come on. No, let me keep saying. Bizarre is the right word for it. If this is what sister-in-law does, I wouldn't want to spend my valuable vacation time with that negativity. Yeah, it blows my mind when people act like this, since like really act entitled and want to lie. Let's see. I got two. Let's see. Okay, now this one. This is I mean, a lot of these are not long. They're not. But like I said, which I'm not complaining about. Okay, this one's titled, Am I Asshole for Making My Husband Cancel His Family's Last Minute Sleepover After He Trapped Me into Saying Yes? I, 31 female, am a law student in the middle of a grueling exam prep. I mean, I have 2 kids. My husband's family is visiting from Dubai. They have a huge house in the countryside, and we've driven down to see them for the past 3 weekends. We casually mentioned they're welcome to visit us in the city sometime. Tonight at 10 p.m., they suddenly announced they were driving up tomorrow. They expect to sleep over. Our house is a complete disaster. My kids has a morning dentist appointment, and I desperately need study. I suggested they come Sunday for lunch instead, so we have time to clean up. Sleepover is a no. My husband refused to set a firm boundary. Instead, telling them no, he just gave weekends like, you can sleep here, but it's messy. He got a call with the sister, put it on loudspeaker, and she explicitly asked, can we crash? He handed the phone to me knowing I couldn't be the bad guy and reject them to their faces. I panicked and said yes. As soon as the call ended, I lost it. I told him it was incredibly cowardly to use me as a human shield. I demanded he call them back, cancel sleepover, and take charge of the mess he made. I feel terrible because they fly back to Dubai soon, and this is our last chance to see them. But I'm overwhelmed, exhausted, and furious that my husband backed me into a corner. Am I an asshole? No, you're not. Your husband needs to grow some balls. Like, putting you in the middle? Like, no. Husband needs to grow some balls. No, OP, you're the asshole. Your husband's the asshole. So, yeah, I mean, OP's trying to study and has stuff she has to do, and that place is a mess. It's like, come on. Yeah, and then one of the comments says, you won't be able to study with everyone in the house. Can you just go to a hotel for the night? He can entertain his relatives and take care of your children. And the fact that they also have kids too. Not the asshole. This is one of the comments. Not the asshole. It's your husband's responsibility to deal with his family. And he should have told them, a firm no, as soon as you said it wasn't okay with you. He was already a bit of an asshole before he handed the phone to you. But that definitely crossed the line. He definitely owes you an apology. And a promise to do better in future. But you also need to take on a little of the responsibility here, because you said yes to the sister, which I agree. They shouldn't have been in a position to deal with it. You did mess up, but not speaking your mind. You need to stand up for yourself even more, because you have people please your husband. Your sister-in-law didn't really do anything wrong. You did invite them to visit knowing it would be in the next few weeks. If you knew you might not be ready for that because of a busy workload, then honestly, you should have specifically said you need a few days notice, or specify if you need to be on a weekend. And it's not her fault that your husband failed to be clear with her when she did ask. Your husband owes you an apology too. Yeah, no. Husband needs to grow some balls. No. OP's not the asshole. But OP also needed to like defend herself. Instead of saying yes the first time, she should have said no. Yeah, but like I said, lesson learned. Okay. Let's me look. Okay, now this one's a crazy one. Oh my god. This is a crazy one. Hold on. I don't know if I want to do this one. Let's see. Okay, now, this one's a crazy family one. Am I asshole? I told my daughter she needs to give her jealousy, and it's her own fault. Her life is the way it is. Okay. This has been an ongoing issue, and I need some outside opinions with my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter is working as a waitress ever since she dropped out of college. She wasn't going to class. She wasn't going to classes, and and she GPA plummeted. The university kicked her out due to this. She doesn't have much cash, doesn't have much money to do anything. My other daughter is graduating and just got a job offer to a good company. I would call the oldest Madison and the younger Becky, fake names. Becky is going to make good money starting her job and doesn't have any loans. She got a full ride to her college. Madison is in debt, struggling. And this is where the help issues stem from. She believes she should be going better than Becky since she's older. Tried over and over to help her, but she has turned bitter. She has turned bitter about anything that Becky achieves. Becky told us she planned on going to Iceland in the fall. It was a quick conversation, but in the car ride home, Madison went off. She was pissed that she gets to do all this cool stuff, and it wasn't fair. She started to insult Becky, and that is when I had enough. I told her she needs to get over her jealousy, and the reasons her life is the way it is her own fault. We got in an argument, and she's pissed. My wife thinks I went too far, but she needs to hear it. No, you're not the asshole. OP, you're not. Your daughter is being entitled. No. And I agree. No, like, daughter needs to grow up and stop. Woe is me. No, that's not the way the world works at all. I like this comment. One of the comments says, "Went too far telling her the truth. Your wife needs to stop coddling a grown-ass woman, not the asshole, but check both of them." And then someone, yeah, that's true, because the wife is tolerating that. It's like, no, you can check your daughter and tell her, enough, stop being like that. No. Yep, I think that's funny. So let's see. Let's meet. I mean, it's just like with me. I grew up with. I have a bunch of siblings that I don't deal with, but I grew up with a bunch of them, and I have an older sister I don't deal with, and she's like that. She's just really messy and miserable. When other people do better than her or going places in life, she just has an attitude. And it's like, yo, don't be going off at people. Like, just because your life is going here, don't be, no. We're not doing that. We're not. Okay, let me see. Let's see. Okay, and this one is, am I an asshole for joking that my dad gets a pubertal period in front of friends and family? I don't know what the hell. Pubertal period. I'm guessing joking that her dad gets time a month, I'm assuming. I, 19 female, was at family dinner with my dad, my younger sister, my older sister, who was visiting, one of my dad's friends, along with his wife and son. At one point, my dad started joking with his friend about how lucky he was to have a son because living with women is apparently so difficult, even though both me and my older sister already moved out for college work and are barely home now. He started making comments about how women get moody and miserable on their periods and how the whole house atmosphere changes. He was saying it in a joking tone, not screaming or anything, but he says this kind of stuff pretty often. His friend then said, thanks. He said, thanks to the Lord every day for that. So I replied in basically the same joking tone that honestly, he had a son immediately like him. It would just be worse because he's moody and irritable all the time already. So it's like he's permanently on his period. His friend laughed immediately, and his wife laughed too. Then his wife joked, oh, don't laugh. You were all like that too. I also pointed out that I honestly don't. Oh my gosh! I also pointed out that I honestly don't even think what he says is true. I do sports well on my period. My sisters are pretty chill too, and most of the time when there was tension at home, it was usually him starting arguments and then blaming it on woman hormones if we reacted badly. Well, anyway, after dinner, my dad told me I embarrassed him and insulted him in front of his friend. He said it was rude and disrespectful to compare a man to having a period. He also said that his friend group takes pride in being masculine, manly, and I made him look weak. I honestly thought we were all joking around equally. And if he can make jokes about women being impossible because of periods, then I don't see why I can't make jokes about him acting moody too. No, you're not the asshole. Your dad needs to grow a pair. Like, come on. Come on, really, dude? You were joking with your friend about that? Come on. Yeah, if somebody would have said that to one of my friends around me, I would crack up. I would think it was funny. Let's see. Look at the comments. And then someone comments, your dad is a misogynist. Be sure to tell him it was just a joke. Geez, not the asshole. And then someone comments, geez, dad, you sound hysterical. Maybe you should take a walk and come back to this conversation when you can be less emotional. Testorial. The comments. Why are you being so dramatic, Dad? Jeez, you're not fine. Oh, I'm sorry, Dad. Do you need some chocolate, glass of wine to ease the cramps? He's on his menstrual cycle. Come on, line up. You need to smile more. He'd be so much prettier if he smiles. Wow. The comments, they are letting who they have it. And I'm all here for it. Oh, so I used this in real life months ago because a dude was freaking out overthinking my vehicle door hit his wheel. Well, the look on his face will live in my brain forever. Okay. Time to get Dad a voucher for free testosterone. That's funny. I don't know. The dad just, it's not that serious. It's like, I know people, well, actually, no. I'm one of the people that when I'm very, like, moody at times, like, I've had a lot of friends be like, oh my gosh, are you on your visitor? I actually had an ex-friend that was like that. Was so moody. I'd be like, dude, for Christmas, I'm gonna buy you tampons. I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna buy you lots of tampons. Because you need them. Because you're being moody. As can be. But like I said, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Have a good day or night whenever y'all listen and watch this episode. Comment below what you guys think of the episode. And like I said, I'm glad to be back doing these episodes for y'all. And I love you guys. And peace.